On Thanksgiving Day, the day meant for family and gratitude, my son looked me in the eye and called me a leech. In front of everyone, he told me I wasn't welcome in his home anymore. That was the moment something inside me broke. But what he didn't know was, I had the power to walk away and change everything. And that's exactly what I did. If you've ever been underestimated or disrespected by the people you love most, then you know the sting of betrayal. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share this story, because today you're about to hear how one parent turned heartbreak into poetic justice. Thanksgiving is supposed to be about togetherness, the smell of turkey, laughter in the kitchen, children running around with half-eaten rolls. But that year, my holiday was filled with whispers, judgmental stares, and eventually, words that cut deeper than a knife. You see, a few years earlier, my husband passed away suddenly. We had been together for almost 40 years, and his death left me shattered, not just emotionally, but financially too. Medical bills piled up, and while I had some savings, life became unbearably tight. So when my son Mark suggested that I move in with him and his wife, it felt like a blessing. I thought it was a chance to heal, to be close to my grandchildren, and to not be so alone. I cooked for them, I cleaned, I babysat the kids, and I even dipped into my own dwindling savings to help cover little expenses when I could. But over time, I noticed the looks from his wife. The sighs when I sat at the dinner table, the way she complained about having another mouth to feed. And Mark, well, he changed too. He stopped thanking me for helping, stopped asking how I was doing. It was like I had become invisible in my own son's house. Still, I stayed quiet. I told myself, it's temporary. Families stick together. Then came Thanksgiving. I had spent the entire morning in the kitchen, basting the turkey, peeling potatoes, and making the pie just the way Mark liked it when he was a boy. Guests started arriving, neighbors, friends, extended family. The house was full of warmth and chatter, and for a moment I thought, maybe today will be different. But after dinner, while people lounged in the living room, I heard my daughter-in-law mutter something under her breath. Someone asked her to repeat it, and that's when Mark, with his arm around her, said loud enough for everyone to hear, "We've decided Mom needs to move out. She's kind of a leech. We don't want her living with us anymore." The room went silent. I froze, the glass in my hand trembling. A leech? My own son, whom I carried for 9 months, raised, fed, clothed, sacrificed for, calling me that in front of family and friends? My heart pounded. My face burned with humiliation. I could barely breathe. I managed to whisper, "A leech?" And Mark, not even looking guilty, just shrugged. That's when something inside me snapped. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I simply excused myself, went to my room, and closed the door. My hands were shaking as I packed my things into 2 suitcases. Every photo frame, every little trinket I had brought with me, I left it behind. And then I walked out, past the living room, past my stunned relatives, past my son who didn't even try to stop me. But here's the part Mark didn't know. When my husband died, I inherited more than just grief. I inherited everything we had worked for together. Investments, property, a business my husband had built from the ground up. I had stayed quiet about it, letting Mark believe I was broke, because I wanted to see how my children would treat me when they thought I had nothing. And now I had my answer. For weeks, I stayed in a modest apartment I owned on the other side of town. It wasn't fancy, but it was peaceful. I didn't call Mark. I didn't reach out to my daughter-in-law. I let them sit in their silence, wondering. But then, I made a decision. If my own son thought I was a burden, then he certainly didn't deserve to benefit from the sacrifices I had made all my life. I updated my will. Everything, every last penny, every property, every investment would go to my daughter, who had always stood by me, or to charity. Mark was cut out completely. And then I let word slip, not directly to him, but through family. The panic came quickly. Suddenly, Mark was calling me. Voicemails poured in. "Mom, I didn't mean it like that. You know I was stressed. Please, let's talk." His wife even showed up at my door with a fake smile plastered on her face, carrying a pie like nothing had happened. But I didn't budge. I told them both calmly, "You made it very clear on Thanksgiving. I was a leech, remember? So now I'm going to live like one, quietly, far away from you, and feeding off nobody. You won't have to worry about me anymore. And when I'm gone, you won't have to worry about my estate either. The look on their faces was priceless. And that was my revenge. Not loud, not dramatic, but cold, final, and fair. My son lost more than just my presence in his home. He lost my trust, my respect, and eventually, his inheritance. Now, when Thanksgiving comes around each year, I celebrate it with people who actually value me. People who see me not as a burden, but as family. Sometimes revenge doesn't have to be shouting or slamming doors. Sometimes the sweetest justice is silence, walking away and letting people live with the consequences of their own cruelty. What do you think? Was I right to cut my son off completely, or would you have given him another chance? Let me know in the comments. And if you've ever tasted the satisfaction of poetic justice, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories, and share this with someone who needs to hear it.